everyone. Welcome to the Seeds of Success podcast, hosted by Dottie Martin and myself, Orly Rivera. This show is your weekly dose of knowledge, insights, and actionable tips to transform centers into striking successes. Whether you're a seasoned industry professional or just stepping onto the lanes, we've got you covered. Dottie, how are you doing today?
Hi, Orly. I'm good.
Yeah.
We are always excited for our shows because we love what we do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But today we have an opportunity. We cross paths with a lot of people being in the roles that we're in here at Cubic AMF. And I had the opportunity to cross paths with Diana Burton. Diana is the program coordinator at Ramstein Air Force Base. And just does a phenomenal job there. And so we invited her to be our guest today. Welcome, Diana.
Hi, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, Orly, I want to get started right away because one of the things that we talked about on our last show is really understanding who our customer is, what the demographic is, and listening and delivering on what's important to our customers. And I have to say, Diana does a phenomenal job of really reading her customer and understanding her customer. And she has a wide variety of customers. Being on a military installation, you're dealing with families, you're dealing with the same thing. You're dealing with organizations, you're dealing with singles, you're dealing with, small ones. So, but we have to be able to deliver experiences that appeal to everyone, right? And so we want to talk a little bit about that today. So, Diana, Queen of Experiences, that's what we're going to name you here. So, as we have worked together over the last few months, one of the things that you plan well in advance is your themed events. And you not only are planning out what the name of that event is when you're going to start marketing that event, but you plan out every single element of that event, what the bowling is going to include, what games they're going to play, what your decorations are, are there going to be any food items that you coordinate with your restaurant? Is there, drinks? What are we going to do? Because you are not just delivering bowling, you're delivering an experience. You also have the Neoverse wall now, and you're starting to incorporate different elements of that, different global shows in that. So you are able to completely capture not just your bowler, but also those that are coming in to watch your bowlers, right?
Yes. Yeah. And, I really I'm so lucky that I get to do what I love to do. I've always been, I guess, the unofficial party planner anywhere that I am. I just enjoy, bringing all those aspects together to get to do that. And it's just so much fun for me. And it's so much fun to get to give these experiences to people. And that's what I love about the themed events, because they're for everybody. They're for families, they're for singles, they're for couples, they're for friends going out. We get all ages in and they love it. And I just love every part of it. And now with the Neoverse wall, it's just amazing. I'm doing a retro movie night in a few weeks, and I'm hoping to be able to show Grease up on the screen. And I'm so excited for that. It's just going to be a great time.
And knowing you, you literally involve those coming in. So some of your events, yep, they are actually encouraged to dress up. I kind of have a feeling might be in the future with this Grease event, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I'm thinking, best dressed, best dance. We can have lots of fun prizes for people that choose to, really take part and go all in on it.
Yeah. So, and things are changing right now. The world is, a little bit uncertain of certain things. And I know several weeks ago we talked about you were planning an event, but the budget wasn't quite there for what you needed. So we talked a little bit at that time about, making lemonade out of your lemons, or the phrase I always like to use. Okay, we can't do that, so we're going to drop back 10 and punt. I'm sure y'all have heard that phrase before, because you know what? there's always a way to do something, right? It may not be the way that you had planned for this particular Grease night, for example, to go, but I could do this.
Yeah.
And so that is one thing. Let's talk about when you are planning out your calendar, your marketing calendar. First and foremost, we know the value of planning in advance, putting it on paper, planning it out in advance, and making sure that you have a dedicated plan for that particular event. That's something that our listeners have heard us say before. Don't take just a haphazard approach. Don't wait to the week before and just do something. And you have your calendar planned out. So I have to say high five on that, because that's not something that a lot of people take the time to do.
Yeah,
right?
You kind of just stole what I was going to talk about, Dottie. I was noticing a trend there. She mentioned she's a planner, and then she mentioned in a few weeks I have this, where we have worked with people before. It might be, I've talked to customers and it's like 3 days before Valentine's. I was kind of giving ideas on things that they could have did, and they're like, yeah, I could probably still try to do that. And I'm like, and the thing is, you can tell when somebody takes the time to do something, plans it out, and, compared to somebody that just throws something together and doesn't quite know what's going to happen. It makes a huge difference when you plan things out. So that caught my attention when she was mentioning planning, and yeah, I like that.
Yeah, for sure. So Diana, tell us just a little bit. You said you've got a Grease thing coming up. I know you've done so many things already in advance. The luau.
Yeah.
How's it going? Aren't we doing a luau? Didn't I read that?
We are. Yep, we are. That's June.
Yes.
So we're starting to plan that and put my menu together with our kitchen and the decorations. Figure out what we're going to have for that. And again, costume contest, because I think that just elevates any event.
Yes.
Everybody likes to dress up, and it's a great excuse to have fun. Limbo contest. So it'll be a lot of fun. And I put in my marketing request for that this week. Even though it's, June, the middle of June. So still a little ahead of time, but that's just part of who I am. I have to have it planned out in advance. I get too stressed if I get close to the event and I don't know what the plan is. I can't handle
Absolutely.
that. So my year is planned already.
And we have like an annual marketing calendar that has different events that, are recommended and different unique holidays. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about when you start to plan. Obviously you're looking at the time of year and what's going on the base and what's going on, holiday wise. How do the wheels start turning for you?
Gosh, really, I guess as I'm closing out one year, I'm starting to kind of look at, the next year and, those seasonal events first. Those go on the calendar first. And then I also look at, like pop culture. Are there any, big movie releases coming out, big album that's expected, anything that I can kind of play off with that. And then, seasonal, and I know what types of events seem to be that people like we have done a summer luau before. That's always a big hit. Although when we've done it before, it's been at the end of the summer. So this time we're trying it at the beginning of the summer. But I think it'll still be a good turnout. And then, I also just try to keep my schedule open too a little bit. So I don't over plan. I have a little bit of leeway. And then, if I get inspired, which can happen, anytime I see something, I read something, I'm like, oh, that would be great. Then it goes on the calendar. But I always like to have a couple months at least to try to figure out what we're going to do, all of the different elements that go into it, just so I'm not reacting and trying to get it done last minute. Because to me, that's kind of haphazard. And I like, maybe that's my military background. I like to have a smooth plan and know what to expect.
Yes, absolutely. So, just out of curiosity, I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit here. What has been your most favorite event that you hosted from a hostess standpoint, from a program coordinator standpoint? What was the most fun?
The most fun, we did have one event. We had a Swiftie night, and that was a lot of fun. It was all Taylor Swift music, so it was a great playlist. It was sold out, all 32 lanes. There were lots of kids, which was great. We did a costume contest, and it was all kids, mostly. There were a couple of adults that had also dressed up and wanted to be in the costume contest, and then they saw all the kids and were like, I can't. We'll let the kids do it. But it was a lot of fun. And those are the kind of events that I like, especially when there are kids involved and you just see them have fun. Those, I think, just make the event great.
I think one thing I was going to mention is, I know some people might listen and say, well, we don't have the money to do decorations all the time. There's so much in your center that you could already use, though, whether it's just changing up your menu, with the food that you already have, whether I know, Dottie, we've talked about it during like a Halloween special. Well, maybe you call the chicken fingers, like vampire fingers, or, you know what I mean? So there's things that you could do within your center. And even on a smaller note, if it's not a big party you're throwing, just something as simple as, let's say, a football team's coming in from like a nearby high school to put up some kind of sports theme on like Neoverse, and I think they enjoy that. They're like, oh, look, they put up footballs, or they put up, and that really goes a long way with the customers. I think when they know that you're personalizing it for them, like that makes them pretty excited. So
yeah. It does. And you don't have to spend a lot of money on decorations. You can get them, we've even made them before Valentine's Day. We made construction paper hearts and hung those up.
Yeah. And that is a great point. There are so many things that you have at your fingertips that are already there. To be able to sometimes remove yourself just enough and take an overall look. Okay, now what do I have that I can utilize here that's going to be fun for our guests, right?
Yeah.
And the different things that are built into your system are different things that you can use your Neoverse. Now that you have Neoverse, well, that opens up a whole new avenue for you to be able to add different things. And so I think that, being able to fully leverage your system, and Orly and I work with customers frequently that have all of this at their fingertips, but they really are not taking advantage of it. Our customers want to have variety. Our customers want something new and exciting, and you have it at your fingertips. Sometimes you just forget to use it, right? Not you, but others. So
we also like to call it, we've talked about before, you can't just plug and play. Like you can't just put something like, oh, I got this new thing, let it bring in millions of customers. It's like, no, you have to use it in the right ways to get the people in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you do. And that's something Dottie and I have been exploring, how we can do that and leverage that.
Yes. And that is the fun part.
It is.
We say all the time, when you can get together and you can brainstorm with your staff or with someone else, there's so many great things that can be done that sometimes it just takes that little spark and it's like, oh my gosh, but I could also do this. And then it takes you off in this direction of creativity. So the other thing that's really amazing is in the industry that we are in, we literally can do things. We can create those experiences that do involve the family. And that is so important in the civilian world, in the military world, no matter what, family is still very, very important. And when you can have an event that involves everyone, that's unique. And I will say I was military for many years, and I know that bowling was always something that we were able to do as a family. And so it was always a big part. But we are seeing that bowling is a big part of families in general. And so that is a great opportunity for centers to put on these planned and themed events that are experiences that customers can sign up for, pay for, come out and bring the whole family, mom, little one, grandpa, grandma, it doesn't matter. Everybody is open to fun, right?
Yep. And everybody can have a great time.
Everybody can have a great time. So blue ocean here. Nothing is off limits. Mm-hmm. What is one thing that you just keep having in the back of your mind going, you know what? I really think I could pull something like this off. If you could do any event under the sun, money is no object. So this is really far-fetched here, right? What would that be?
Oh, right now, I have in my mind, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to execute it, but New Year's Eve, maybe we're open 24 hours, that whole New Year's Eve day, night, and I somehow have on the LED wall, like each time zone, the ball drop, whatever in that country, however they celebrate it. Just, and I don't know if I would do the whole wall. I would love to maybe divide the wall up into different sections and have, one area, Paris, London, Tokyo, just the whole thing.
Well, that's definitely something to work towards. That is not super far.
I have, I guess, about 7 months.
Okay. Well, if we can't generate some more fire there, so
okay,
that's a great and that would be fun for those. You've got people from all over.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Because and maybe we could make some kind of connection to have, like messages from home. If you are from, San Francisco, when we show San Francisco and you're in our center, and somebody's message from mom and dad back home.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of during the NFL games during the holidays where they, somebody's out in this country and they're just saying hi to all their family, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
My wheels are turning. It's audio only, so it's not smell-o-vision, is it, Orly? Because I'm sure it's smoking right now. I have some ideas, Diana, that we'll have to talk about. My wheels are turning now. So you got me going. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And, it's good for us from time to time to pause. We have to, when we are in our planning phase, we have to take that time out to have time to think. Mm-hmm. Because it's when we think that we come up with these ideas and we're able to map things out and plan things out and deliver these experiences the way that you're delivering these experiences. So, anyway, I again want to say thank you for what you do. You have a very critical role being in the military. I personally want you to know that delivering those experiences mean the world to the military people and their families. And I can say that from being in those shoes myself. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But we were so happy to have you on as a guest. And don't be surprised, listeners, if we don't have her again, because she is just full of knowledge and experience and ideas that we as the hosts of Seeds of Success, our job is to continue pushing out things to keep you inspired and keep you moving forward and to keep your registers ringing and to keep your motivation up. And so you are a glowing example of someone that is enjoying what they do and delivering a great experience time and time again for your customers. So thank you for that. Well, Orly, anything else that you want to put Diana on the spot for today?
No, I mean, I want to see some of these big parties that she's throwing. I don't know. I might have to buy a ticket out there and take a look.
Definitely. You'll be the guest of honor.
Yeah, she is on my radar too. I had a visit planned last month, but that did not work out. So I have a commitment to her before long. Hopefully things will get squared away. She just does a phenomenal job. And, in the meantime, I'll just have to watch what goes on in your center through social media and through, the website. And now that I know, I have to do Orly a shout out because they use their online scoring, which if we've got listeners out there that are not doing that, shame on you. It's a great feature. I can go in and I can see what the customers are doing. Or if I know that Diana's on the lanes bowling, don't you think I'm going to look at her lane and see just how she's doing and send her a text message when she misses that spare? You bet. I'm going to do that. So, well, Diana, thank you so much for being our guest today and for what you do for your patrons there at Ramstein Air Force Base. They are very lucky to have you.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being a part of today's episode of Seeds of Success. With decades of industry experience, we're honored to share ideas, strategies, and trends designed to help entertainment centers like yours thrive and grow. Together, we're planting the seeds for a stronger, more successful future. Share this podcast with your team and industry friends, because the more seeds we sow, the greater the harvest. Until next time, let's continue to build success, one happy guest and one incredible experience at a time.